People probably wonder why I have this here.
That's violence. You're going to get this demonetized from YouTube.
Love the music. KOTC bonus edition.
You ready, Jimmy?
I'm ready.
Welcome everybody to a bonus episode of King of the Court.
Bonus.
I am your host, Tyler, and we have our other host over here, Jimmy Miller. It is the end of 2023.
Almost.
Did you hit your goals?
There. What goals?
Those were gone out the door the first day of 20.
My goal was to survive, and I did it. Survive in advance.
We're not there yet, so it's a little premature to say that.
That's true. 20, how many days? 11 days? 13 days left?
I don't know. About a week and a half.
A week, yeah.
Anyways, thank you for tuning in. This episode, well, it's not really an episode. It's just this video.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little bit of a recap of all things in pickleball, and we're going to start with how the year ended for the PPA players. And we're going off of their tour just because.
Yeah.
Why are we going off their tour?
Well, they're the only ones that like actually keep points. And so it kind of gives you an idea of at least where players ended and didn't end.
Okay.
But real quick, just before we start, since it is the holiday season.
Yes.
We have a good friend of the program who has another podcast, Zane Navertil.
Zane Navertil. Zane saw.
The Zane saw his beautiful fiance, Jenny, and his adorable dog, Murray.
Are you going to their wedding?
Well, I actually broke the news to Jenny that I was going when I met her in San Clemente. And
did she know who you were?
Well, I think she knew who I was, but I don't think she liked me.
I think a lot of people might be able to say that.
And she definitely didn't like the podcast, which is fine. You know, it's okay. But when I did tell her that Zane invited me to the wedding, she looked a little bit shocked and kind of.
You tell her you're his best man?
I didn't tell her that. I told her Althoff and I were going to arm wrestle for it. She kind of side-eyed Zane for sure. But one thing that Zane does, other than all his crazy antics, is him and Althoff are in a contest.
Okay.
And they're trying to raise money for Alzheimer's research. Okay. Now, Alzheimer's, my grandma passed away from Alzheimer's. So dementia. And so
soft spot,
near and dear to my heart. And also Sean McDuffie. You've met Sean, right?
Great guy.
Texas guy. Yep. Texas guy. He actually pulled his calf in San Clemente, so I didn't get to see him. But stop Alzheimer's now. It's the holiday season. They're trying to raise $250,000. There's a contest between Zane and Althoff. Zane, you know, he's a former CPA. He actually went and looked at their books. Did you know this?
I did not.
So he didn't want to donate to anything that he felt like, 5 cents of the $100 was actually going to the
100% goes to what
they say it goes. He said, here's his text. Okay. I've personally reviewed the tax returns, old habits die hard, and ensured that zero administrative expenses, meaning that every dollar donated is going directly to research.
That's awesome.
So if you are able this holiday season, go donate. I will post the link on my social media, on my Instagram page.
We should be able to include that also in the description here as well.
Yeah, and the description. Go donate. Go help Alzheimer's research. Do something.
And also,
good.
I believe every dollar that you donate gets matched.
Yeah, they may be doing a match. I don't know that for sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and there's incentives. Obviously, there's tax incentives and things like that because, of course, Zane, is all about that. So check it out. Stop Alzheimer's now. And then I'll post the link to donate directly under Zane's name, and we'll let Zane, for the first time in his life, beat Althoff at something.
Boom. All right. With that said, we are going to do a quick review of the top 5 players that finished the 2023 year in standings and rankings on the PPA side. Let's do it. So we're going to start with men's doubles.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this?
Should we go from number 5 to number 1?
Let's do it. Okay. So we have it pulled up. We're on the PPA website, ppatour.com. Yeah. And we are here under leaderboard.
So there's a tie for 5th. Okay. Surprisingly.
All right. Surprisingly. That is interesting. All right. So tied in at 5th place for the men's, we have Riley Newman, and Matt Wright.
So this is interesting because they broke up mid-season. What, in June?
Yeah.
Right? So they had played the entire first half of the year together. Okay. And they had podium 27 straight times.
Yeah.
But they couldn't beat Ben and Colin. And they break up in June. And if you look at the standings, Matt seems like he had been doing better than Riley, at least for the first couple of months.
The first couple of months until maybe the last 1 to 2 months.
And the last 1 to 2 months, Riley
started doing a little bit better.
Matt didn't play in all the tournaments. But with that being said, they finished the exact same number of points. Identical, which is wild to think about. Because once they split up, everyone's like, oh, Matt's doing better. Riley made bad choice, and they finished the same.
Wow. Were you following this? I think Matt was probably leading.
He was. So I want to say that Matt ended up making like 5 semis and Riley made only like, 1 semi at one point. But then Riley finished very strong. I mean, he made the PPA finals. He made the finals, right? He made the finals at TOC without Matt. Matt did win, I believe, was it Denver with Ben? Or was
it was Kansas City.
Kansas City with Ben during all the...
So I'm just thinking, we played Matt in Daytona and they almost beat me and DJ. Yeah. And had he won that match for bronze, he would have been up.
Yeah. But you and DJ beat him in the bronze match, so he finished 4th. And in Daytona, Riley finished...
They didn't do well.
Yeah, it was Riley and... Oh my gosh, my mind just went blank. Was it AJ again?
No.
Was it not Thomas? It was somebody else, a new partnership. Anyways, doesn't matter. They finished exactly the same.
Yeah.
So number 5 for Riley.
Yeah. So with this, we're going to kind of go over these players. Now, I don't know if these players are going to like this or not, but we're going to go over kind of their strengths and then also maybe their weaknesses on the court.
So I would say that finishing fifth after dropping your partner mid-season. I know that Riley he tried out Julian, he tried out AJ, he tried out Thomas.
But once again, also to clarify, finishing 5th individually, that means you're a top 3 team.
No, for sure. Yeah. But I would still say that's a disappointing season for Riley.
Okay.
Because I think that Riley's goal, maybe not to finish next to Ben, but he would have finished
top 4,
essentially behind Ben and Colin.
Assuming they would have been able to stay on that same trajectory. Over Dylan and JDB. Yeah. So it did cause him to fall a little bit. And I mean, there's still a little bit of a gap there, but Pablo and Fed, I think, have closed it. Yeah.
And so I think that's a little bit disappointing. Riley, we know he's a great player, right? His speed ups, he has good hands. I think that what Riley really lacks, and maybe with this new paddle change that's coming will help.
Yeah.
He has no power.
Okay.
He lacks put away power.
What are his top 3 strengths that you would say with Riley?
His speed ups are great. He's solid, consistent dinker.
Okay.
And I actually think Riley has his freaking pancake.
Yep.
His little pancake counter. Like, I think that Riley, he does have good hands, and you don't want to test Riley at the kitchen line.
Okay.
But he's not going to drive many balls. Right. And when he does, it's, he's not going to hit many winners off of drives, I should say.
Yeah.
His length is definitely an advantage for him as well. But he's also, he doesn't have a ton of power. Mm-hmm. And so he's not always going to end points, but his defense is great and he will keep you in points for a long time. And Riley's, he's definitely a top 5 player. I think most people coming into the year thought he was number 2 behind Ben.
Yeah.
So
where do you see him landing next year? Top 5? Do you think his...
Yeah, he's going to be top 5 no matter who he plays with. It looks like he's playing with Thomas to start the year.
Top 5?
Yeah, I think that Thomas is his best option if he's not going to go back to Matt.
Okay.
And if he's not going to snag Dylan or JDB, Thomas is his best option.
Okay. All right, moving on.
You know who I would like to see play together, though?
Who?
I think Riley and James Ignatowicz.
They have played.
I know, but I would like to see them play a full season together.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know how well they gelled.
Well, James he can take it. He played with Tyson.
Yeah.
He can handle it.
Yeah.
So anyways, Riley and
how long
Thomas
did that last?
Well, that's true. So we'll see how they do.
So you're predicting top 5 next year for
I think top
individually
5.
ranking.
Yeah, I think top 5. I think Riley's I think he's gonna be back in the mix competing for, I mean, him and Thomas, you know, they beat Matt and James at PPA finals to get to the gold medal match.
Yeah.
And they pushed Ben and Colin. I mean, they played well.
Yeah.
So
okay, moving on to Matt Wright.
Matt Wright. There's one thing that we can never outrun, and that's age.
Okay.
Matt has defied it to this point.
And you were telling me we need to figure out exactly how old he is.
Google him. Let's Google
you
him.
were saying he's 46, 47. I didn't think he was quite that old. I was thinking he was in his mid 40s, 44, 45 or so.
Let's see. I don't know. This is in 2022, he was 44. So maybe he's 45.
I think he's 44, 45 or so.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So continue with your speech.
So Matt Wright, obviously we know has very, actually PPA's official website, 46.
That's probably like the calendar year. So he's, I don't know, since we're not in 24 yet. So I wonder if he turns 47 next year or if he's turning 46.
46, yeah. Either way, he is 23 years older than his partner in 2024. Mm-hmm. He's double the age of James Ignatowicz.
Daddy.
He is his dad. He could be his dad.
Yeah.
So Matt, the thing with Matt is he has great hands. He has great counters. He doesn't move as well as he obviously used to, but he's very, very smart on the court.
He finds a way to win.
He does. And
he finds a way to win.
He does. And he played with a million different partners this year.
Yeah.
He played with Rafa. He played with Ignatowicz, right? He played with Riley.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played with a bunch of different partners. He played with Ben, and he was successful in essence with all. He played with Rettenmeyer. Mm-hmm. They finished 4th in Daytona.
Yeah.
He was successful with all of them. And so with Matt, I think the big thing is he needs to have that good partner that can play the left, right? And let Matt just know his role. At this point in his career, know your role. Yeah. Counter, reset, right? And know your role.
For sure. Do you future 2024?
So he's playing with James.
Do you think he ends top 5 tied again with Riley?
No, I think Riley will pass him in 2024. Okay. I think Matt and James will have some success, but I think Matt and James are going to be more of we may see him lose in the quarters. We may see them lose in the semis. There's a chance that they'll make a couple championship Sundays, but I would say that those are going to be few and far between.
Interesting. My question, worst case, he does not have a successful year next year, Matt Wright. Does he continue to grind out and play these tournaments?
That's a good question. I think he will because he just signed a 3-year deal with PPA that's worth a lot of money. But I would say once that deal ends, I mean, he's going to, if he decides to go.
Because he's played with Ben Johns. He's played with Riley. He's had good partners and he's had a lot of success.
And James is a great partner.
Yeah.
If Matt decides at the end of these 3 years that he's done, and essentially he's 50 years old at that point, if this math is right, and he goes and plays.
He doesn't want to do NPL?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he goes plays in like seniors or champions tour, if he pulls an Althoff, he will be Althoff where he's undefeated. Yeah. Like he will not lose. I think that he can keep playing at a high level. It just depends on how long. And we've been waiting for the Matt Wright decline for 5 years now, and it hasn't happened.
Has not happened.
And so who's to say that this is the year? I mean, he's figured it out.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to our third place. There's 2 people tied.
Yeah. Shocker.
What is interesting is the top 7 or 8 players, almost all of them have the exact same amount of points because they are playing only with that partnership. Yes. Which I find a little bit interesting.
Does that show the consistency of the partner, how much it matters?
Probably to some degree.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. So we have James, JW Johnson, and Dylan Frazier. They are both tied with the same amount of points. Thoughts on them? Were you surprised by their rank this year?
No, I mean, I think that JW and Dylan were the clear-cut number 3 heading into the year behind Matt and Riley. I think they had the ability to surpass them at some point. As soon as Riley got rid of Matt, it was wide open for them, and they took advantage. I think they finished the year with 7 or 8 straight.
I think it was even 8 or 9 straight championship
Sundays until the PPA finals.
Yeah. What are their strengths?
I mean, the biggest thing with them is they probably have the fastest hands combined on one team. If you would take the teams combined, those two, their speed ups, their counters, just great hands. And then the other thing is, and I know that this is probably something that's underrated, but you never see those two get rattled. It doesn't matter how much. So I watched them play Riley and Thomas, and Riley was chirping every point at the finals, every single point, and you never saw JDB or Dylan change their demeanor at all.
Yeah,
they were stoic the entire time. They didn't get rattled. You don't see them throw paddles. You don't see them argue with each other. You don't see them get frustrated. They just keep grinding and they keep going.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mental toughness from those two is one of their major strengths.
What are their weaknesses?
I would say that their weaknesses,
the Johns bros.
Yes. So the Johns brothers, and what you see is what you get from them. They're not doing anything flashy. They're not doing anything that's confusing. They're just very good at what they do, which is grind out points, right? Wait for the right moment and attack.
I would say their weakness, surprisingly, is power. If people are speeding up a lot of balls at them, I would say they lack a little bit on the defense side, which is kind of funny because they're known to have really strong counters.
Yeah. But counters at the kitchen are different from in that no man's land.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're a solid team. Their level is pretty high.
Yeah.
Almost every single time they step on the court, they're not missing many balls.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting. I would have thought they would have had a little bit more success against the Johns brothers, but how many times have they beaten them? 1, 2 or 3 times or something like that?
Ever? Yeah. So very, very minimal.
Where do you see them falling next year?
You know, it's interesting. Like there are rumors out there that J-Dub might play a couple with Tardio. I don't know if that will or won't happen. You know, there's been rumors for a while that, you know, the Johnson clan has been grooming Tardio to be that replacement. I don't think Gabe is there yet. I think Gabe's a great player, but I don't think he's Dylan's level yet. I think he can get there. But I mean, they're still fairly young. You know, what are they? 20? Oh, Dylan just had a birthday. Just turned 22, I think.
22, 23, around there.
Yeah. Dylan's birthday was like a week ago. I think he just turned 22.
Yeah.
So they're 21, 22 years old. And so, you know, you would assume that they're still going to just continue to improve at this point because they're still, but yeah, what are they working on?
Yeah.
Right. Like we talked to Ben on the podcast and he's always working on something. What are they working on? Because I haven't seen any new shots, I'll say, out of either of them in a while.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, let's see, are they just trying to get faster hands and they think that that's the answer?
Yeah.
You know? So.
Okay. Moving on. Top dogs, which is now Benjamin Johns over Colin Johns, which is kind of funny because up until maybe 6 or 7 months ago, Colin Johns, for some reason, always had a little bit more points.
Yeah, I think because he had played, one of it was Red Rock, because him and Deckel played together at Red Rock and did well. But Ben played with Matt Wright and won gold in Kansas City. And Colin hurt his ankle. Yeah. Allegedly.
So they are top team. There's not much to say about it except for they were.
Yeah, I mean, incredible. Colin knows his role, right? So I bag on Colin as much as the next guy, but Colin knows his role. He's very good at playing that role. Ben straight up said that, Colin doesn't practice many other things because Colin is busy practicing with Ben, knowing what his role is. And so he plays that right side role. His job is to counter. His job is to make his dinks, right?
Where are they strong?
To set up Ben.
Where is this team strong? You can count probably on your hand how many times they've lost this entire year. Probably in the last 2 years.
Well, I think that their biggest strength is in there. I mean, they have just an insane encyclopedia of knowledge on every single player, right? They know your strengths and weaknesses way more than you will ever know theirs.
Yeah.
They're extremely consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Like the most consistent team. I mean, you could probably count on one hand the number of unforced errors they have in a match too.
Yeah.
And, you know, it doesn't matter what style you play. If you try to grind out points, then they'll grind out points. If you want to freaking rip balls and speed them up, then, you know, they'll counter and sit on them. You know, they are very, very good. I'd say their biggest strength is they are very good at dictating the pace and making you play their game.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what your game plan is. They will come out and at some point you will realize, even if you come out and you go up 6-1, 7-1 on them, because it's happened
multiple times. At some point you will look back and you'll be like, it is 8-8 and we are sitting here at the kitchen line on dink number 90. Yeah.
How did this happen? How did they will control that pace and they will dictate that pace.
What are their weaknesses?
I think that their weaknesses at this point, there's not many. It's hard to point out, you know, a specific weakness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, let cords are Colin's weakness.
8 a.m. start times.
8 a.m. start times.
Actually don't happen anymore.
Yeah. 8 a.m. start times.
10 a.m. start times.
Yeah. Middle-aged women. I mean, things like that are their weaknesses, but on the court, there's not a lot. I mean, they're just super freaking solid. And right now they're the clear-cut best team in the world. And I don't know if.
So me and James Ignatowicz, we played them in nationals this year.
Pushed them to
went 5 games.
Yeah.
We were up 2-1 on them. And I felt like we had a really steady flow, good pace. We were dictating points. And then Colin got injured and then things kind of switched around there.
Yeah.
But what me and James were doing is we were actually speeding up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think if you're able to speed them up on the right opportunities, then that's when you're going to have a lot of success.
Yeah. You have to speed up, and obviously they have to be the right speed ups, but you have to take your chances.
Yeah.
It's similar to the, you know, when you play, and we'll get to it when we get to the women's side, but do something different. Like what's the point of sitting there? You're not going to outdink them, right? You just aren't. Like there's nobody that's going to outdink them at this point. So why don't you speed up balls and take your shots? And if you lose 11-0, you lose 11-0, but at least you go down swinging.
Yeah.
There's no difference. Nobody's going to remember that you lost 11-0, 11-5, or if you lost 11-8, 11-8.
Yeah. Do you see them staying at number 1 for next year?
Yeah, I do. I think the gap can get closed a little bit. You know, if
the gap is already fairly close, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
J-Dub points.
Yeah, I think J-Dub and Dylan can close that gap though, in terms of, you know, maybe sneaking up on them a little bit. I think that Riley and Thomas have shown the ability to maybe get there. I mean, Pablo and Fed have been fairly consistent in that 4 spot.
I think outside of the top 2 teams, the Johns and Dylan Frazier and J-Dub, I think there's going to be a lot of changes.
Oh, for sure. So, I mean, Tyson and Deckel next year will be interesting, right?
Yeah, I'm talking more like Connor Alshon.
Alshon, Garnett.
Or Alshon and Garnett.
Yeah.
You got DJ out there. He'll hit a couple of them. You got AJ every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, DJ's picked up some good ones. I think Jay at the end of the year was playing well.
Yeah.
I think he kind of had a little bit of a resurgence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the top 10 will be fairly interchangeable, in my opinion, for 2024.
Yeah. And like, you know, our boy Rafa's been grinding. He's down like below 200 pounds. He's like, like literally he's been in the gym.
He claims he can run a sub 5-minute mile.
I don't know. All I know is that he sent me a picture the other day.
Not a chance.
He sent me a picture the other day and that dude is getting jacked.
Like, getting jacked is different than being able to run.
I'm just saying he's putting in the work for 2024.
Yeah. That's good.
So,
But yeah, I think there will be a lot of changes. I honestly would not be surprised, even if Ben Johns and Colin and even J-Dub and Dylan aren't number 1 or 2.
Yeah, be interesting to see. I would love to still see Riley and Dylan.
Yeah.
I think that team could rival the Johns brothers on occasion.
Yeah. Okay. So that was for the men's side.
Yeah.
Let's hop over to the other side, women's.
Yeah. Women's side.
Okay, starting at number 5, and there is not a tie at number 5. We have Luciakova.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Lucy Kovalova is essentially very similar to her life partner and special friend, Matt Wright.
Okay.
She knows her role. She plays the right side as good as anybody in the women's game, other than maybe Katherine, but Katherine also can play both sides. Her counters are great. She is very good at dropping. Her cross court dinks are phenomenal. And she plays that role well, and she knows what her role is. Go ahead. Her weaknesses at this point is she kind of does the same thing. She kind of does the same exact thing. Right.
Yeah. It seems like she's almost plateaued at that 5 spot. I don't know if they've ever had any wins over the top 2 or 3.
Yeah. I don't think, they're always there.
They're always there. They're always right there.
They're always right there. And they haven't beat Annalie and Katherine in years, ever, if ever. Well, they've never lost. So they haven't beat Annalie and Katherine. They're not going to beat Annalie and Anna. And so, yeah, they're kind of stuck in that 2 to 3 spot.
Yeah. Which is not a bad
place. That's not a bad place to be. Exactly.
Not a bad place to be.
Like I said, they're still great players. Her and Callie are great players. I think sometimes Lucy gets a little bit loose on her dinks. A little mental focus. Maybe. Yeah, a little mental focus. You can kind of hit that, inside left foot on her and kind of grind her out there a little bit. But for the most part, she just knows her role. She's a very solid player. Okay. She's not going to take over a match, but she's not going to lose you a match.
Do we know who her partner is for next year?
So she's playing some with Jackie Kawamoto. And I believe Callie said that they were still planning on playing a couple together, but I don't know if that's been confirmed.
Okay.
And then I believe she was going to play with, I can't remember. I know that she is playing some with Jackie though.
Okay.
Which will be interesting. I think
Do you think
good.
she remains top 5 for end of next year?
I think her and Jackie are a top 5 team. Yeah. Top 3 team. Yeah.
But do you think she, at the end of 2024, will remain in the top 5?
The problem is I don't know who she's playing with. And so I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because I think if she played with Jackie all year, yes.
Okay.
I think if she plays with, who knows who else she's playing with, it could very well, have her, she could fall.
Yeah. Okay. Moving up to number 4 is Callie Smith.
Yeah. So Callie is, she's played that left side with Lucy for 3 years now, 2 years. They've had a lot of success. She's very similar to Lucy. The knock on Callie's going to be the exact same thing. You backhand dink Callie. Callie gets to the kitchen line and she's not going to do anything with the ball. Literally is not going to do a single thing if you're dinking to her backhand. She's going to stay in it. She's going to dink well. She's going to be solid, but she's very predictable.
Yeah.
And that's always been the book on Callie is you get her to the kitchen and you backhand dink her.
Yeah.
And you backhand dink her to death and she'll either pop one up or she'll miss.
Okay.
But she's not going to try anything funky. She's not going to really speed you up. She's not going to, backhand flick, right? Nothing like that.
Do we know any of her partners for next year on the women's side?
I think she's playing some with Elise, right?
Okay.
I think that was one thing. And I don't really know. I think that they're kind of keeping that close to the vest, but Callie still has tons of power, right? She's a workout warrior. I think she lifts more than you.
Maybe.
She's jacked.
She's not faster than me, but maybe she lifts more.
Yeah, she might lift more. And the other thing with Callie is she hits good drives. She's very consistent. She's been at the top since what was it? Was it Nationals when her and Katherine beat Lucy and Simone? Was that 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Was that Nationals or was it US Open?
I don't know.
It was like 3 or 4 years ago. It was during, and she's kind of stayed right there since.
So what does it take for her, Callie, to eclipse that number 1 spot?
That's what's going to be tough, right?
Because all these girls all these guys, all these players that we're talking about, they're fine where they're at, but they want to be number 1.
Yeah, but the gap between Annalie and 2 through 6 is way bigger than the gap between Ben and 2 through 6, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that Annalie has a further head start than these ladies do.
Okay. Do you see Callie being top 4 next year?
I think
at the end of 2024.
I think we're going to see her. She's going to be right there in a lot of matches, But I think without her and Lucy playing the whole year together, we may not see the consistency.
Yeah.
So I think we could see Callie on a championship Sunday. We could see Lucy on a championship Sunday. And then we could see them losing in the quarters.
Yeah.
Like separately.
Okay, moving on. We got Anna Bright. She's coming in at number 3 with 15,800 points.
Yeah, I think Anna Bright is, I thought that she had a chance to eclipse Annalie. I was wrong. I made a mistake. She's a clear-cut top 3 player. There's no argument. There's no mistake about it. The problem with Anna Bright is when she's good, she's really, really, really good. And you think, okay, she's a top player in the world. Like she could beat Annalie if you just watch her. But when she's bad, she's bad.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like there's an in-between with her. I feel like when things start to go off the rails for Anna Bright, they go so far off the rails. And that's what makes it tough, because sometimes you watch her and you're like, dude, what? Like you were playing like you just got out of qualies and you're just happy to be there.
Yeah.
And then other times you watch her and you're like, dude, she could be the best player in the world. So that's kind of my knock on her. I think, again, she has great power, obviously came over from tennis. She has good for her. Actually, I think her forehand dinks are actually solid. Smart player. She does tend to back off the line a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think
I would say
that's a lot of players.
These girls that we've talked about tend to back off the line quite a bit, except for who would you think?
Catherine.
She's one of them. I would say Callie.
Yeah.
She doesn't back off the line that much.
That's true. Callie, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. The other person who doesn't back off the line and they take more balls out of the air than anybody is Leah.
Yep, for sure.
But I also think that's because Leah knows that her volleys are as good as anybody's.
Yeah.
And so she's not worried about.
Do we know who Anna Bright is playing with next year?
Rohrabacher.
All year.
I believe so.
Okay.
So Anna and Rohrabacher, she's going to take a swing at Rachel. Obviously, Rachel's an up and comer. We saw Rachel
on her MLP team.
We didn't see Rachel have a ton of success in PPA.
Yeah.
But it's a very small sample size.
Yeah.
So
do you see Anna remaining top 3 next year?
I do. I think that her and Rachel are going to be a top 3 team, top four team.
Wow. That's a bold statement.
I think they will be a top 3, top 4 team. I don't think that, Rachel's still new to the sport, just went full time in July or August. So she could make that leap. I don't see them pushing Annalie and Katherine, but I do.
So you're essentially saying Rachel would come in at number 4.
Well, I think Rachel would be around 6 or 7 if we had to.
If Anna Bright is maintaining that 3rd place, then she'd have to drop in at 4.
If they played every
event.
Yeah, that's true. I think Callie and Lucy, if they were playing together, are better than Anna and Rachel. I think Jackie and Jade are another team that could come up there, and depending on how many.
Moving
events.
on. Katherine Pento, she comes in at 17,150 points.
Yeah. Katherine and Anna Bright, I think, are pretty interchangeable in my opinion. It's easy. It's easy for me to say, but it's easy when you're playing with Annalie. You get a chance to play with Annalie, you're going to win. And if she's playing with either the number 2 or number 3 player, it doesn't matter. You can switch them back and forth and you're going to win. The difference is Katherine can play the right side with Annalie. She's great defensively, probably the best defensive female, I would say. Again, very consistent. Plays kind of that Colin Johns role, but she can also attack a couple balls when she needs to and let AL do her thing.
Okay.
And Katherine, yes, 100% she's going to stay top 2.
They've confirmed that they're playing.
They confirmed they're playing together.
All of next year. Because this year, Annalie Waters was kind of she was kind of jumping around a little bit.
Now, I will be interested to see if Lee sneaks in a little bit.
For 1 or 2 tournaments.
1 or 2 tournaments. Because she announced she was playing at US Open, which is not a PPA.
That's not a PPA.
It's not.
That doesn't count towards points.
But what I'm saying is that one that Lee comes and plays with her.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't affect the points.
No. So yeah, Annalie and Katherine for sure. They're your top 2. Annalie's the best player in the world. It's really not even close at this point.
21,000.
Yeah. She's rolling. She's going to continue to roll. The question will be, it's not... the question is, can anybody beat Annalie this year? Will she go undefeated again?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they can.
Yeah. What are her weaknesses?
Annalie's?
Yes.
I think her weaknesses with her is sometimes she does get a little bit overzealous on her poaching. Okay. So I think she takes a lot of risks, which going to MLP, I think that's why in rally scoring, she doesn't do as well. Obviously, she's not playing with as good of partners, but she's a very high risk, high reward player.
Yeah.
And when every point matters, like it does in rally scoring, I do think that affects her game a little bit, because you'll notice that when she is serving, she's way more aggressive, Annalie is, than when she's receiving in side out scoring.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of a high risk, high reward. The other thing with her is, you can get her frustrated. You can get her, which
I think she actually responds pretty well to anger or frustration.
Yeah.
But maybe if it gets past the point where she kind of explodes, then that's where she doesn't play well. But if it's just enough, that motivates her, I think. But then if it goes over the tipping point, kind of like we saw against Tyra.
Yeah.
And then in MLP, she kind of lost it a couple times as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you see a lot of people start chirping at her. Like seems to be part of the formula to beat her.
Yeah.
Is to chirp at her.
Yeah.
So, but that's the 16-year-old in her, right? Like that, when I was 16, I was likes to fight guy, right? Like he chirp at me. And so, yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Do you see her dropping from number 1?
I don't see her dropping, but I do think in the women's game, we could see some changes. Like we could see Etta come up and jump into the top 5, right? We could see, because Megan Dazan and Etta are playing together. That team could very well jump up in the top 5. Leia and Tyra.
So who are you pulling out of the top 5? Because you essentially said everyone will stay there.
Well, I said Callie and Lucy could definitely fall depending on who they play with, right? Okay. Leia and Tyra. That team could easily jump up into the top 5.
Who is Vivian David playing with?
I don't know, actually.
Gotcha. Jesse, Irvin, Irina.
Yeah, Jesse and Irina. I think that they're falling. Jade and Jackie could definitely jump up there, but it's
Georgia.
I like Georgia. I've just never been super high on her. Like I think that she's got a ways to go to get up there, but they're not playing a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
This is the other thing. Georgia, Jackie, Jade, they don't play a ton of PPAs. Yeah. And so we may not see them in that top 5. But dude, Jackie only played 8 PPAs last year.
Yeah, but will that be changing for next year?
And made the finals. I don't know. That's the thing. I'm not sure. I would assume so based on these contracts.
Gotcha. Okay. So. Awesome. Well, hopefully you guys like that rundown of 2023 final standings to top off the year. Stay tuned. We will continue doing some more episodes like this throughout the holidays. If you like this episode, please do us a big favor. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you guys next time.
Well, wait a minute. We can't end yet. We have some fans, Tyler.
We have some fans. What?
We have some fans from Canada.
Canada does not like you, Jimmy.
They love me. They love us. And they sent us some things.
What'd they send you?
So I figure while we're here on the show, let's open the box.
Okay.
All right. Now, we got a package. Let me get this closer. We got a package. I'm not going to show the addresses because some of you are creepy. But they sent us some stuff.
Wow. Have you screened it? Do we know if it's safe? Is it legal?
Could be like Unabomber.
Just poof.
Yeah. But that's okay because you guys will see it. Okay. So let's see what we got.
Okay. What do you think it is from Canada?
I mean, I hope it's a loony or a toonie.
A loony or a toonie.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
Oh, wow. We got a lot.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Lay's
ketchup chips.
Chips. Not potato chips. Chips.
Do you have to eat them right now?
We're going to try them. Okay. We're going to try them. Okay, wait. We're not done. We got some Tim Hortons coffee.
Okay.
All right. I love Canadians. Canadians are rad. We've got some biscuits.
Hey, is that the leaf?
Yeah, we got the maple leaf.
There we go.
Okay. Oh my, this is loaded. We got, Canadian Kit Kats?
Oh man, I will pound that right now.
Canadian Kit Kats. Hang on. We're not done. We got some coffee crisp
Okay. They like their coffee.
We got another bag just for Tyler's own bag. Okay. And then we got
Ketchup.
Mr. Big, whatever this is. More Canadian.
They're referring to something else.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
I feel like we need to do something.
What's their name? Who sent this?
This is from Josette. Okay, listen, she has been a day one.
Okay.
She's a fan from the very beginning.
Okay.
She's a day one KOTC listener. She's awesome. I think I don't want to say exactly where she lives, but Ontario. She lives in Ontario.
I had somebody message me.
Is amazing.
And said that they listen to our episodes on repeat. Like
Really?
they listen to the same episode multiple times.
Okay, well listen, we need to do something. Okay. What is it called? ASMR, if you have that.
Hold on, I gotta film this real quick.
Oh gosh, these smell like ketchup. All right, here we go. We're gonna try it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I mean, it's exactly what you think.
Chips with ketchup. All right, here we go.
A ketchup chip. They nailed it.
That color is almost like purple.
It's almost like barbecue, but ketchup. Okay. I get it. Canadians, I get it. What do you think?
Love it.
It's not bad, huh?
Hits the spot right away.
Okay. You guys were right. I was wrong, Canadians. I wonder how many loonies this costs, though.
Looney Tunes.
What do you think? Anyways, thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for sending that.
Thank you for sending this. We're going to try them all.
All right. Thanks.